Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So we see this on Twitter. Just caught a meteor shower on camera? Is that what that is? Look at that. That looks pretty spectacular. It reminds me of like the what do you call the grand finale at the fireworks?
Oh, yes, the grand finale. Yeah, it does. It's pretty grand.
It does look like that, does it not? I mean, it's crazy. Look at that. It's just something disintegrating into so many different pieces, and we know there's going to be an official explanation, of course, as we take a look over here. And here, my wife and I just saw this meteor directly above us. I muted the audio to limit my cursing, and this is in Oregon. Spectacular.
I know it's really beautiful. And when I asked what it was, they came back and they told me that it was a cloaked spacecraft that's been hit, and now it's no longer cloaked.
Okay, and so, well, let me give the official explanation. Yes, they are saying it apparently was a SpaceX craft or rocket that was disintegrating. Yeah, that's what they got so many things that they could blame on Elon Musk now. Oh, I just saw a whole fleet of UFOs. No, that's just the Starlink satellites.
Right. I feel like that's somewhat deliberate too.
Oh, I think so. It's plausible deniability. That's exactly what it is. It's saying, well, of course, it's just a rocket from SpaceX just coming. We've seen this happen in Russia many times. We've seen this happen in many other places, and yeah, that's all it is. That's all. There's nothing to see here. So now you said, okay, it was a cloaked ship.
Yep.
Whose?
Well, it feels reptilian in nature. It feels like a reptilian ship, like it was a reptilian ship, because they were coming through the galactics were telling me that there could be some things happening that we weren't visible to our eye, that were cloaked. And a lot of sometimes people send us video where they hear all this rumbling, but there's nothing in the sky. But there is stuff in the sky that's cloaked, we can't see. And this is one of those things that's going on that, it has the cloaking technology until it gets blown up.
Well, they did share, the Galactics did share that they were activating, they were they were activating these dogmen creatures for the battle ahead. And when you had channeled it, it came across in very somber tones. It came across like, okay, if that's the way you want it, type of tones. So is it the Galactic Federation that did this to the reptilian ship?
It was they're showing me that these dogmen that were activated, are they part of the Galactic Federation? Kind of. They're a branch of. They did it.
Interesting. That's some really good stuff. So obviously they're not just like werewolf-like monstrous brutes. They are intelligent.
Extremely intelligent, and they also are outfitted with the AI and stuff like that. It's kind of like a super soldier to the max.
Really wild stuff. So, the battle of the quote-unquote gods apparently is well underway again over our heads.
I feel it has been for a while. I know it was a few years ago when I saw the clouds above the sky, and there was this rumbling, this non-stop rumbling, and it went on for hours. And I still have that on video somewhere. I think it's been going on for some time, but it's reaching a point now where they just can't keep everything hidden all the time. So they have to come out with these excuses and reasons why we're seeing what we're seeing. And don't believe your lying eyes.
Well, people will say, too, why would they ever disclose the truth? Well, because they know these things. They know that certain treaties that we don't know, perhaps, are going to be null and void at a certain time in period. And if they know these things, I mean, just think about it. We could go and get into the biblical aspect of the thing. And, there is a statement saying that, a day to the Lord is like 1,000 years to man. So when we think about these things, and if we are saying that, these reptilian Anunnaki beings are the ones that have given us a lot of prophecies and, have seeded these lines of thought. They know the time frames. If there are treaties up there that are on long term, perhaps because, again, look to the Sumerian kings list. You have beings that are ruling for tens of thousands of years. How long did they live in Earth terms? And then we also know that when you travel at the speed of light, for instance, away from the Earth, say for 1 year, and then do a UE, come right back, a much longer time span is going to have passed here on Earth, but it might just seem like 2 years out there in space.
Right, that's exactly true. So things are not as they seem, and they know these things. So they're in a position where things can happen in the sky, and they're in a perfect position to say, well, this is what it is, and then we believe that.
Exactly. So, maybe a lot of what we're seeing, people are worried that it's an asteroid field, and people are worried that it's Nibiru and this and that. And then I see comments on the past videos where people are saying not one thing is natural. Everything is manufactured. So we have people saying, both ends of the extreme. And I really have thought that there could be people infiltrated even in our own groups, so to speak, like the Grand Solar Minimum group and things like that, that are trying to steer away any possibility of this having any artificial flavoring to it, that it's completely natural, just a complete natural sun cycle. We could see things going on through. But what if, the sun cycle is being taken advantage of? Okay, this is a perfect time, perfect cover, for what's going to be going on, quote unquote, weather-wise over their heads. And this would give us plausible deniability again. And of course, at the same time, perhaps we have this galactic treaty that is going to be coming up at this time frame. So this is perfect. And then, what if they could even influence the sun, which they can if we look at the Kardashev scales and we look at certain societies with certain technologies at a certain point. Oh yeah, you could really influence the sun. You may be actually able to move the entire solar system with technology.
And let's not forget that thing that's sitting at the Vatican, that Dyson sphere. They know about the technology. They know how to make a statue of it. So, I mean, what does that tell us? It tells us everything.
It sure does. And as above, so below, right? So there are these groups up there that are fighting. There are these groups down here that are fighting. And again, if we go to Deuteronomy 32, especially 32:8, we hear that, God, or really, if we want to translate it properly, the Elohim, now, again, there's so many different misinterpretations because there are beings that we could call the Elohim that are what we would call celestial beings. Very, very advanced beings with highly advanced intelligences. And then there's those that we're again kind of mislabeling that are simply, beings that are 3D, 4D, and perhaps have some ability to go up into the lower 5D that really still use ships to come here, not using fully activated Merkabas, but ships. And again, the people on Earth took them to be gods, quote unquote. All you got to do is really like cross-reference things, get into, looking at the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Puranas, and because they talk openly about these beings, and it was known that they have advanced technology. Same thing with the Native Americans in both Americas, indigenous people across the globe, the Dogon tribe over in Africa. It goes on and on and on. The Zulus, they all know that beings from the stars came here. Beings in ships, using technology. And there's also higher beings too that have come here at times to help us pull things together. And a good analogy is the movie Knowing, where they look like Nordic aliens, and in reality that's just a cover for the fact that they're light body beings of a higher vibrational frequency. And of course, if this world is ruled by the enemy, Satan, then of course he's going to be changing, they are going to be changing all the scriptures. They are going to be changing all the narratives. And they're also going to be persecuting the indigenous people and all the people with the knowledge from, burn the witch, and we got to convert the heathen. They're better off, dead and than going to hell, and et cetera, et cetera. It's all about controlling the narrative.
I know, they looked at the natives and how they were living off the land, and they come in with their uniforms and their structured way of life, and then they call them savages, and that's a reason to eliminate them, which is really pretty horrible.
Yeah, it's plausible deniability and justifying atrocities. Yes. Is what it is. So we had also just talked about yesterday, all these, we see 3 asteroids within 1 lunar distance. And how do we know what's an asteroid and what's not really an asteroid when we're seeing them out there in space? And, we saw Oumuamua, which perfectly utilized the gravity of the sun to slingshot back into outer space. And it was the first interstellar, rock ship. Interestingly enough, shaped exactly like what we hear so many reptilian ships are shaped like. And you see a rare daytime fireball meteor create a massive sonic boom over the UK. That was just 2 days ago. So, is a lot of this, and that's, that looks the same. It's breaking up again. Are these really remnants of cloaked vehicles that are now getting taken out by the forces of the galactics?
That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling. And that's why we got to learn to discern with our heart, because we're never going to be told the truth, especially if it's going to benefit us in our growth and evolution.
So if we know they're starting to lose their grip in more than one level, then we're going to take heart. Yes. And it might embolden people. And you might feel like saying to somebody, you know what? I wonder if that's actually a ship up there that got boomed.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of devastating to them, because people would change their minds. They would change their frequency, and they would say, well, wow, if they're not telling the truth about this, what else have they lied about? And then people can more easily forget what they've learned and understand that what they've been taught isn't necessarily true, and then start to learn the truth. They don't want that.
They don't. So guys, thanks for being part of the family. Please do make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. If you need to make an appointment, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.